have to go within. They keep being told, you got to go within. This is an idea that you understand, that I understand. It's all within yourself. The remote viewing, it's all within yourself. You're not going anywhere. It's all, you're going within yourself. Everything is contained inside you. And this idea of the holographic brain, and it's all in there, and the mind is feeding it. It's like a TV thing. So this is what they want us to know. It's this idea that's within us. Everything's one. The 360-degree vision, that you can, this idea that you can see everything at the same time, and that you have this power of consciousness, that everything, consciousness, you can do whatever you want. That's these basic messages they're trying to get across. And everybody's telling the same story, especially when they say, I became one with the craft. I said, man, did I hear that a couple of times. They say the same words, I became one with the craft. And whatever I thought was what the craft did. And they thought it was really weird that, you know, they could talk to the craft and give it a name and stuff like that. And they could feel the craft, and this idea you can go anywhere in the universe. So that's the idea that if you go anywhere instantaneously in the universe, they're not flying through time and space, like time and space, you know, over generations. They're doing it instantaneous. And then you get into the idea about the portals, where I have the thing where the 9 people in 2002 in Mount Shasta who are levitated up into the air, and these beings come, and there's more beings than there are trees in the forest. And these stories about the Zendras, where people are going in, and they walk through the Zendra, and the Zendra is only about this wide, and they walk through the Zendra and they're on another planet. You just take one step and they're on another planet. That's where you start getting this idea that it's all one thing, because people will think, oh, they're doing magical or whatever. No, it's all consciousness, and there is no here, there is no time and space. It's all here, it's all now, which gets the idea. How big is the universe if there's no time and space? It may be a point in space. That's it. That's all it is. It's all contained within. And that's where you get the stuff where you start looking at this idea that there's only one electron. That's what John Wheeler brought up. There's only one electron, or there's no out there. It's a participatory universe. This is the guy that was the successor to Einstein at Princeton. There's no out there. It's a participatory universe. You are part of what's happening outside. This whole idea that it's all within you. And some of these quantum physicists from the early generations, more now the quantum physics are even starting. Apparently it's the big thing in quantum physics now is to look at consciousness. 20 years ago, it was basically illegal to talk about consciousness. You would basically lose your funding, everything. Now it's a big thing. Everybody, especially if you're retired, they're all working on consciousness. You know, the guy who won the Nobel Prize, Josephson, he was ostracized when he was doing ESP, when he was at, you know, he'd won the Nobel Prize. And now he's working on it. And a lot of these guys in quantum physics, that's the big thing now, is to talk about quantum physics and explain, because everybody knows there's a Nobel Prize in this, to try to explain the nature of consciousness. And they haven't gotten anywhere because they've got it backwards. They think matter creates consciousness. Then it's this idea that you and I have understood for years, and that we're trying to teach other people, and that the beings are, whatever the intelligence is trying to explain to us indirectly, is this idea it's all consciousness, all here and now. There is no future, there's no past and future. It's all here, it's all now. It's all, and this weird concepts of all your lives are stacked on top of a book, and you can actually interact with people in your people in the future and the people from the past. You can live a life in the past, and you start hearing this really weird stuff that basically anything's possible, because it's all done with the mind. Whatever you want to imagine yourself doing, you can do.
That's great, Grant. I'm so happy you're back in the public eye. You look like you took off took a little.
Yeah, I'll be doing an interview Thursday morning to explain that whole thing where I disappeared to, and I'm going to release a videotape by Kay Randall May, who you may know as she was used by Kit Green to the CIA. They were using her as a remote viewer. Kit Green described her as being between 95 and 100% accurate. She's a medical intuitive, the most accurate medical intuitive he'd ever met in his life. And he said, I'm a physiologist, and I know when she talks about medical stuff. I don't know about the UFO stuff, but medical stuff. I'm going to release a 1-hour session she did for me, and it will explain where I went for 6 months. But it's the taping will be done. I'll be explaining what's happened, and I'll release the tape from Kay Randall May. And let me tell you, as a hint, she hit a grand slam home run. Absolutely nailed it against all the doctors that were advising me. They said one thing, she said, no, they're wrong. She said that in the middle of April, and she was right. So I'm going to release the tape. It'll be pretty exciting.
Well, I always appreciate your enthusiasm and your intelligence and the big picture that you put together, because you're right. You studied the UFO White House for so long, and suddenly you switched to consciousness. You left people, but there was nowhere else to go in that field. you had this awakening and download because that seemed like it was your next level to kind of figure it all out.
That's where Jerry Pippin went after me. If you remember Jerry Pippin, the interviewer, he said, Grant, I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe you've gone from the presidential guy to the woo-woo side. And I said, well, Jerry, I'll tell you what, I really didn't go there. I kind of got teleported there. Like, I mean, it's you've had the download experiences, you know, this thing, it comes with this absolute certainty. It's like you saw it before you came into the world. And then suddenly the door sort of opens up and you see it and you go, oh yeah, I remember that now. It's like, and that's what it is. It's like when somebody gives you a name, like you can't remember this person's name and then somebody else tells the name. Oh yeah, that's the name. It pops in your head. Yeah, that's right. And it was this certainty, like this is exactly how it works. I had no choice. I mean, I just went there and I just was so, I couldn't, for 2 days, I couldn't think. I was just floored by this
Wow.
concept of the fact that it's all consciousness. And yet I didn't know what it meant at the time because I'd never studied consciousness, never
We're
studied
still
psychology.
figuring it out. I don't think anyone knows what it really means. We have a vague, our understanding of consciousness is it's information. It's not solid yet. It's becoming, you know.
And that's where Deepak would be right about, is the idea, I think in the Eastern, what's the Tao the Tao that is named is not the Tao.
Yeah,
It's
right.
what we try to do when we work in this world is we change everything into nouns, and there are no nouns. Like Deepak showed, it's all a verb. It's all a verb, and that's where people. So you break it into these little nouns, and then you break it all apart, and that doesn't work. It's you have to realize it's a moving system. It's alive. It's all one thing, and it's alive. It's a verb. There's no nouns.
You're pulling this phenomena forward. You're pushing. You have all that energy, and you know there's a lot of movement with movies. That movie by James Fox, which I don't know. I'm going to see it soon. That Moment of Contact.
Well,
Brazilian case.
my movement ahead, you'll hear Kay Randall May describe who I was in the reincarnation type things. She explains it. I don't know if I believe it, but it's pretty wild. You'll be kind of interested to see her view on it.